Welcome back, folks, and welcome to the channel again. Hope you are all good and you are staying rubber side down. You join me today on my attempt at the Sisu Pinkki series. Sorry, Pinkki series. I'm going to start off by apologizing to anyone for my pronunciation of the words here. Stage one. To give you a little bit of background of the Sisu Pinkki series. Basically, this is Sisu's tribute to the 109th edition of the Giro d'Italia. So, their tribute to endurance, elegance, and explosive racing spirit. And as inspired by the Giro, they are turning Watopia pink. So today we're on stage one. This is, as I mentioned, this is Sugar Cookie. This is a mostly flat stage with a bit of a downhill leading, mostly flat around the island, and then a bit of a climb up back towards the jungle area. So essentially, the final climb is essentially this bit that we're coming down now by the lead-in. And then with a downhill finish towards the loop. So started off pretty well. Managed to stick with the front group. I have sped it up a bit because this downhill section and flat section, really not many opportunities for breakaways. Although, as you can probably see on the map, there was a group did break away, that couple of red dots, and those two guys putting out some huge numbers. So this is a mass start. So I think it was about 129 odd people starting the race all together, which has made for pretty wild start. And here we are coming through the first. This will be the finish line at the end of the big loop. Going well so far. Basically the goal of this, or my personal goal, was to just try and stay with the front. Just stick with the front pack. Basically just cling on. Take the odd little turn on the front just to kind of keep my my nose out there and show the rest of the pack what I can do. But you can see there's a huge number of us pushing along here. This really is a very sort of flat section. A couple of sprint sections which don't make much difference for this scratch race. Oh yes, did have a slight issue where halfway through, just in that little section, where my Zwift clicker decided to stop connecting, so I lost all my gears, and very luckily was able to connect that back, which was gave me certainly a bit of a panic, but managed to get that all connected again and was back to it. So managed to stay now with this little pack that is spread out the front. I think it's around about 25 odd people. And as I said, I have sped this up because this first 2/3 of the race, there really wasn't a lot happening. It was really just a case of just staying with the pack, putting down some reasonable power, somewhere between between 200 and 300 watts. Did push on a little bit there just to try and put my nose out in front, see what would happen. But realistically, everything is going to start happening when we start hitting that little climb, just before we climb back up towards the jungle area. So pushing along here, just trying to stay in the draft. Interesting to note for this race, unlike WTRL, my steerer was not disabled, so I was able to actually use that and control where I sat in the pack, which was quite handy. There's a bit of an art to staying in the draft when you're in the pack, especially when you don't have the steer enabled or when it's disabled. It does eventually you do get pushed out to the side, and then you just pop out in the draft. I find that if you just let off on the power a little bit, then it just allows you to just soak back a little bit, and then it just automatically pulls you back into the back of the pack, and then you can sort of stay somewhere in the middle, and you get the benefits of draft. So here we go. We finally hitting the first little bit of the climb. So again, there's I think 20, maybe 30 in the pack, and we're just pushing up here now. At this point, hadn't really identified any of the other sort of stronger riders. Everyone was playing it pretty quiet, so really had to wait. We're gonna have to wait until the downhill after this section, and then the climb up towards Epic KOM, the first half of it, up over the bridge, to really see who's who in the zoo here. Just pushing along at just shy of FTP. 280 watts, 300 watts. Definitely feeling it by this point. It was certainly not an easy section, trying to that flat section, just staying with the pack. They really were putting down some decent power. Just coming over the crest now. Here we go, and we're into the downhill section. Thought I'd just push on a little bit, see if maybe we can eat some time into those couple of people out in front, but it wasn't happening. And here we go into the bottom of Epic KOM, just up this very steep little section, which is anywhere between, I think, 8% and 13% on the last corner before you get onto the bridge. Really putting down some big watts here. Very happy to have the feather. Through the flat section, I did pick up a couple of other power-ups, aero and draft assist, but what I really wanted was that feather. So I used those up, and then just on that last sprint section, managed to pick up the feather, so I was very happy with that. Putting out 500 watts here, just to sort of, just really wanted to make sure if I could stay with the front of the pack and not really lose the wheel on some of the others. You can see those couple of people just pulling away at the front of this little pack, so I really wanted to try and stay with them. Just popped out of the draft there on the right hand side, so 680 watts there, just out of the saddle, just really trying to push it down and try and get back onto the wheel here. So luckily I managed to just pop back onto this group. And at this point I'm sort of seeing those other riders just further up, so no rest for the wicked. Got to put the power down and just power on through them and try and get back with those front group. Just having a little bit of a breather, just a casual 400 watts here before I start. There we go. Just start eating into that little gap. See if I can, using the steerer there, just to make sure I try and stay in the draft. And here we go. Everyone else is beginning to drop off. And yeah, you can see that little pack just pulling away. So I really wanted to just get on the back of them. Putting the power down here, and yeah, luckily just able to bridge that gap and jump on the back there. All right, little let's get the sweat off and with the towel, and now just stick with this group. You can see behind we're beginning to lose some of the other riders, so it's right. Stick with this pack on this sort of slight, as we get to the end of this bridge, we hang a right, bit of a downhill section, then to a little bit of a climb up into where we started. and then continuing that downhill section all the way back into the jungle loop. Almost at the top of the climb here now. Still putting out 350, 400 watts just to stay with this group. You can see by my face, I'm really, I am hurting at this point. But, and fantastic, I managed to get an upgrade up to level 66. All right, so definitely made a bit of a dent in the gap behind us. So this is the pack to stay with. Managed to pull that rider back. Yeah, as you can see, just a little comment. Just there's a couple of riders just ahead of us, and I'm trying to get the team to. Obviously, we've got the numbers, so this is a downhill section. Just trying to use the sort of slingshot effect to just power through each rider from the back of the pack, using the draft to kind of eat into that gap that they have in front of us. So I'm trying to work together with the pack here. Now we've got the numbers, so we should easily be able to eat into those couple of riders who are just, what are they, about 11 seconds ahead of us on this this next little downhill section after this short climb. So just coming back up to where we started from the start pen. Still putting down some big numbers for 400 watts on this climb. Definitely feeling it at this point. But very happy to be in a good position here. I was very happy with this. Give out of 129 odd starters, and to be sat in sort of 8th, competing for 8th in category B is very happy. So yeah, working with the other riders here, trying to take my turn on the front, but also share it around. Very close to the top now. Just as we come over the crest, then really need to utilize that slingshot effect just to eat into that time for those two people ahead of us. Still 11 seconds ahead. So you can see me just flicking the elbow, just trying to get somebody else on the front. And yeah, just me sort of see a bit of banter with us and the people ahead. Just trying to work together. And so I think here we start to finally, we've been really eaten into that gap now. So one of them has fallen off and is only 4 seconds ahead. You can see like putting 300 odd watts out on the downhill section, 55 kilometers an hour. Not often have a downhill section to the finish, which was a bit unusual, but it was certainly interesting. Made for a very fast finish. No option to really let up on the power, just constantly on all the time. Just trying to utilize draft as much as possible here. So with 2 kilometers to go, everything to play for. So I think we did lose a couple of people on that last climb and downhill section. So you see, like just trying to gap that little section into this bunch. And here we go. We've finally overtaken those couple of guys who were just ahead of us. And utilizing the downhill momentum, a surge past them, 1.5K to go, up into 5th. I'm thinking I'm in a really good place here. don't want to get with a still over a kilometer to go. Don't want to be sprinting too early. Always a problem of mine. I always get overly ambitious and try and sprint too early. So it's right, slot back, get into the draft, pick my moment, and go for it with around 300 meters to go. I can see my face. I am hurting. One final wipe of the face, get the sweat off, and now what are we 900 meters. So beginning to ramp up. Feeling anxious and nervous now, like keeping an eye out for the attack. And as you can see, here we go now. Everyone beginning to push on. Just got to stay with them. Just got to stay with the wheel here. 600 meters. 51k just along this bridge. And when we pop out of the caves, just around the corner, then we'll be through the arch. Just got to stay on the wheel here. 450 watts. Oh, and here we go, out of the saddle. Here we go for the sprint. Everyone's pushing hard. I've got one up to 8th. Can I get a couple? No, oh, sorry, 9th. Can I get a couple more? Oh, just squeeze past into 8th. Ah, and there we go. Now, I was pretty bloody stoked to finish 8th. What I didn't realize was it is a mass start, and it was, in fact, all the categories racing together. And so what I didn't realize was that I actually won category B. So I was absolutely had in between dying at this stage at the end of the race. I was sort of had this confusion. It's like, hang on, why is my name at the top there? And then finally dawned on me that I actually won category B. So absolutely stoked to have won my first category B race. Currently, with this result, I was sat in 6th position in the GC. So yeah, really great. Absolutely stoked. Great result, and very happy to be leading into stage 2, which is coming up Tuesday. Tuesday and Wednesday. I'll be racing that on Wednesday at lunchtime. As that's basically the best time for me with this, all the different options. It is the course Radio Rendezvous. It is a huge climbing course. It is 20 odd kilometers, but it is all climbing with a finish at the top of Radio Tower, which is, I think, it's about a kilometer and a half, 2 kilometers, but it's about 15% the whole way. It is going to be a brutal race. So anyway, I will look forward to seeing you again there. And until then, have a fabulous week and stay rubber side down. All right. See ya.